important can a victim impact statement be when it comes to a potential parole? I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Pennsylvania State Representative Mike Vereb. Thanks for being with us.
Glad to be here.
First of all, let's talk about how a parole hearing currently works in the Commonwealth.
Currently, the parole board meets with the parolee in prison and has a face-to-face interview with them regards with how their behavior has been, to see if they're ready to go back into society and be a productive member of society. But that is an interview in person. Any victim feedback or district attorney feedback from the community or from the family of who are the victim of that crime, the only feedback they have is in written testimony that they can submit. And that's where we think the biggest fallback was here on the Ellen Robb case.
And let's talk about that, because this is a story of family tragedy, but this victim's brother is actually pushing for changes in the parole process.
Well, you know, this Raphael Robb was given parole in his first, opportune day, the first legal day. The parole board was paroling him. We actually stopped that parole in a period of 2 weeks by asking the parole board to revisit the case.
And this was a case of domestic violence?
This was a woman, Ellen Gregory Robb, who was looking to leave her home one morning. Her brother had come down to help her move out and found her, in a body bag being put into the funeral director's vehicle. Her sister was bludgeoned, murdered in the house. There was a guilty plea worked out at the time with the prosecutor's office, and he was sentenced to 5 to 10 years. Minimum of 5, maximum of 10. Well, at the minimum of 5, the parole board was going to go ahead and release him. We feel all along that a face-to-face interview, the same face-to-face interview that is given an opportunity to the suspect or the parolee in this case, we would like to have that with the victim, or in a case of death, the victim's representative. That face-to-face feedback in an interview, we feel the victim deserves that right just as much as the criminal does, all the way through the process. Justice for both the defendant and the victim should not stop in the courtroom.
And how important can these victim impact statements be? Because they are often used in court, but how important could they be in a parole process?
Well, in this case, Raphael Robb is a professional, trained, opportunist here. He's been able to manipulate people, manipulate this parole board. He attempted to manipulate the court process and prosecutors. In this case, you're putting a family face-to-face in front of the parole board saying, look, this guy is still manipulating his daughter from prison. She's in college, and he's still manipulating her, threatening her with money, cutting off funds. We feel that face-to-face conversation, as in any case, we feel not only should it be a right, but we feel it'll be much more convincing, and the parole board will actually get a tangible face or a tangible feeling with the person in front of them.
You have House Bill 492 related to this issue. Would these victim impact statements be applicable at all types of parole hearings? The case you've obviously mentioned is a violent crime.
Right. Every case in this legislation, every case of parole, the victims would have a chance to appear in front of the parole board. My bill not only left the House through all of the committees and the general House floor unanimously, but it's supported by a number of groups, including the parole board and its chairman, the Office of Victim Advocate, the domestic violence groups across the Commonwealth, all the levels of law enforcement and District Attorneys Association. They recognize there might be a volume of people, but did the Constitution get drafted to protect the victims all the way up until sentencing, or should it be the same for the victim and the defendant all the way through? That's where I think we get the support. That's why the bill's been fast-tracked, and we hope to have it signed into law shortly.
Thanks for being with us.
Glad to be here.
We've been talking with Pennsylvania State Representative Mike Vereb. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Newsmakers.